Well, hello, and thank you for stopping by today. Normally, I talk about casino comps, playing in the casino, and how you can earn free cruises. But I just recently went on my own free cruise from Virgin Voyages that I earned by gambling in the Royal Caribbean Casino. And I used an offer that I received from them, and I traded that up to Virgin's Casino Match program and got myself a sea terrace room on the Resilient Lady. And I had a fabulous time, but there were a bunch of things that I didn't know since it was my first time sailing Virgin Voyages. And I thought that I would share 10 great tips with you for your first time sailing Virgin Voyages and a couple of bonus tips. Things that I learned while being on the ship that would have made my voyage much more pleasurable. So let's start at the top with number one, some things that you need to know when you're actually booking your cruise. So Virgin has three different types of kind of fare structures, starting with base, and then essential, and then premium. And each of them have different items that they offer with them. And of course, each level is going to cost you more. And also pairing that with dining, because dining reservations, you really need to make them in advance. So if you get the base plan, you can only book your dining reservations online 15 days in advance. Also, you're going to get just the basic Wi-Fi, which is really basically not good for anything. I had the next level up of Wi-Fi. I believe it's called the classic Wi-Fi, and I still couldn't open Instagram. I couldn't open YouTube. I couldn't really do anything with it other than use the app. So with the base fare, just be mindful you are paying a lower price, but there are no refunds on that, and no refunds even for a credit. So if you pay probably about $100 more, really depending on the cruise, then you're going to move yourself up to the essential plan. That extends the dining window out to 45 days from sailing that you can book your dining reservations. And honestly, that was well worth it. That was the plan that came with my free cruise, was the essential plan. So I got kind of like the classic Wi-Fi was still really basically good for nothing. And I got the refundable for a credit on my account. And I was able to book my dining 45 days in advance. And we'll talk about dining more in item number 3. The next level then would be premium. And what premium gets you is the premium Wi-Fi, which you can use for streaming. You can do your YouTube, your Instagram. If you're someone like me who is on board to make content and needs to post YouTube videos, then you definitely need that plan. It is pretty darn good. I did a live stream, and I would say that while my video froze a little bit while I was doing the live stream, my audio did not, which was great. All I care about is that people can still hear me even if they can't really see me that well. And then with the premium, you can book your dining 60 days in advance, which is a huge advantage. You're going to be some of the first people to be able to get dining reservations. Obviously, the rock star and people with high status are going to get it sooner than you, but 60 days would still be fabulous. You'd have a really good availability on your dining reservations. And the premium Wi-Fi that you get with the premium plan, and I saw this when I looked at a 7-night sailing, it was about $200 more than the essential package, but it also included 2 devices in the Wi-Fi, and that would have been great for me because when I upgraded to the premium Wi-Fi, that cost me $320 for a 7-night sailing, and I only got 1 device. You can switch back and forth between devices, but that can be really frustrating, especially like if you're trying to upload something, but then you need to check it on another device, or you're trying to transfer files back and forth. You got to take one off and put one on. It just can be frustrating. So to have 2 devices, I think it's a great value. Also, it does give you a $120 bar tab in addition to the 2 devices on Wi-Fi. Plus, it has much more lenient changes allowed to your reservation, as well as your refund for credit. And so really the second thing I wanted to talk about, which I covered a little bit, is the Wi-Fi. So just be mindful that it may be better to get one of the higher packages, the fare packages, instead of just buying the premium Wi-Fi outright. Now, I didn't have the option because I was gifted or casino matched for the essential package, and I didn't have the ability to upgrade to the premium package. But I bet that would have been cheaper than me buying the premium Wi-Fi all on its own, and then that would have allowed me 15 more days for dining reservations, and then given me an extra device, and then also a $120 bar tab, which I probably wouldn't have used because I don't like alcohol, but I probably could have found some type of virgin cocktail that I liked very much and used that. So just keep that in mind when you're initially booking your fare. The third thing I want to talk about is dining. Dining is fabulous, but again, make sure that you set yourself an alarm on the day that dining comes available. If it becomes available at 12:01 a.m. on a Wednesday, just stay up Tuesday night, set your alarm, get right online, and make your dining reservation. There is not a main dining room on Virgin Voyages. There are about 5 main restaurants that you get to choose from, but you do need a reservation. And walk-in reservations are not always available, despite what anyone says. I was not successful in getting any walk-in reservations. So what I did when I booked my dining was I did stay up till 12:01 a.m. I got right on the app and made my dining reservations. All the menus are there so you can see what you're going to be eating while you're on board, and then choose your dining times. Now, I ended up booking the first available dining time on each of the restaurants, which is about 5:55, 6 o'clock. And I think that worked out great for me because then I went to an early dinner and then I went to see the shows, and I didn't have much of a wait for the shows later in the evening because most people were at dinner. Also, too, think about it, a lot of these restaurants have excellent views out the back and sides of the ship. And if you're eating early, then you may be able to catch the sunset while you're eating. And if there's one restaurant that is your favorite, don't hesitate to book it twice because you may not be able to get another reservation while you're on board. Now, once you've made your dining reservations, you can go back into the app and change them at any time. But again, you have to be able to find availability. On my ship or my sailing, extra virgin was impossible. Like once you had your reservation, you got that in advance, you really couldn't change it because there was just nothing available. It was the same with the wake. There really wasn't reservations available, but Razzle Dazzle and Pink Agave tended to have a few openings here and there. But if you don't make it into one of the restaurants in the evening, then there are still plenty of other places to get food on the ship. Don't forget about the galley. That is like a food court area, self-service. Now, if you do want to be served in the galley, just sit down at a table and turn the little flag on, or kind of like pull it out of the little whole sign holder and put that flag up. And a dining room attendant will come over and take your order. There's a QR code on the sign that you can scan with your phone, and then you'll be able to see what's available to have delivered to your table. And I used that a couple of times, and that was pretty fantastic. Actually, several times when I was up in the galley, just sitting working on my computer, I would get approached and asked if there was anything that they could bring me. So sometimes I would have them bring me a beverage or something in particular that I wanted, like, oh, those, what are they? The fruit ice pops. Those are pretty fabulous. Another tip about the food, though, is I know the pizza place is open really late in the evening, but the ice cream is not, sadly. And I tended to go looking for the ice cream about 11:30, midnight when I was wandering around the ship. And sadly, it closes, I think, around 10 p.m. So just be mindful that if you want ice cream late in the evening, it's going to close pretty early. So now that we've kind of talked about the things that you need to do before you get on board the ship, the other big thing would be number 4, and do not arrive early to the port because there will be no place for you to sit down, relax, no bathrooms, no refreshments, no nothing. So when they give you a boarding time, they are strict about it. I had 2:45 in the afternoon. I had a flight that would have arrived right on time, would have got me there right on time. Sadly, my flight was pushed several hours earlier, and I arrived several hours earlier, even after killing a lot of time by taking public transit. And I ended up sitting on a curb for 2 hours. And luckily, it wasn't that hot. It was just a little bit uncomfortable. but there were people everywhere just sitting outside on the curb because Virgin does not allow you into the building to sit down until after your boarding time or kind of like right at it. I think I got let on or into the building at 2:40. My boarding time was 2:45. And I think the one kind of fault in that is the challenge of making it there at that time, right? A lot of people struggle with the Port of Miami and the traffic backups. And I've heard reports that sometimes it takes an hour or 2 hours to get into the port once you once you get out of Miami proper. So I think a lot of people are really scared they're going to miss the ship and they show up early. Also, sometimes you can't control your flight time unless you're coming in the night before. But again, too, like if you're coming in the night before and you're staying in a hotel and checkout time is 11 a.m., well, then what are you supposed to do with yourself and all your luggage until you have a 2:45 or 3 or 3:30 boarding time? So you need to make plans to not get to the port until your boarding time, and that can be a little bit tricky. So let's talk about the next thing that you need to know the minute that you get on the ship. So number 5, if you like a softer bed, then make sure that you go immediately to your cabin upon boarding to get a mattress pad. You can request one from your stateroom attendant. So hightail it to your room and then find your stateroom attendant and ask for a mattress pad right away. Now those beds were firm, but I didn't have any issue with them. I thought maybe the first night that I was going to be terribly uncomfortably stiff when I woke up, but I was perfectly fine. But I really would have liked to have a mattress pad if I'd known they existed. Now they do not have a lot of them, first come, first serve. So make sure that you run right to your room if you want to get one. And here's a couple kind of extra bonus things about your room. You have a tablet in the room that controls the lights, as well as the TV and the blinds. So instead of having to worry about turning off the lights before you go to bed, just grab that tablet and take it to bed with you and set it on the end table, and you can close the blinds or open the blinds and turn off the lights from the bed by grabbing the tablet. Also, they do leave carafes of water in your stateroom, and they do fit in the refrigerator. So if you want the water refrigerated, just keep it in the fridge, or you can just ask for a bucket of ice from your stateroom attendant, and they will refill it every day. And they do refill the water every single day. So number 6, since you're already in your room and talking to your stateroom attendant, especially if you're solo traveling and you want a little bit more room in your cabin, you can have the beds separated and one side of the bed turned into a sofa. So you have a little bit of extra room because it frees up some floor space, and it gives you a much better place to sit down. Because honestly, I didn't think my Sea Terrace cabin was really designed for someone lounging in the room unless you turned the second bed into a sofa. And number 7, while you're already in your room, go ahead and do your safety briefing on the TV, because your TV won't work until you've done it. And then when you're done, run downstairs and check in for your muster station, because the ship can't leave port until everyone has checked in, and you don't want to be that person holding up the sail away. So number 8, another tip about your room, the air conditioner. Just be mindful that when you're out on the balcony, even though you may have the balcony door fully closed, because it is not locked, the air conditioner will not turn on. So if you spend 2, 3, 4 hours sitting out on the balcony like I did, just be mindful that your air is going to be off in your room while you're outside. Now, when you come back in, make sure that you securely close the door and turn the handle to lock it, and your air conditioner will come back on. Also, I found that I tended to get pretty warm in the evening, and I realized that the air conditioner must have a motion sensor and was turning off probably 5 or 6 hours after no movement. So if you're going to get up in the middle of the night, kind of move around a little bit to get that air conditioner to kick back on. Number 9. So while we're talking about the room, I want to point out that the movies on the tablet do change regularly. So if you see a movie and you're like, oh, I want to watch that 2 days from now, there's a very good chance that that won't be available. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about your evening entertainment. Number 10, if you're on a cruise that goes to Bimini, Virgin's private beach club, then be prepared to get off the ship as soon as the gangway opens. Don't wait like I did till about 10 a.m. because it was so incredibly crowded when I got there. There were hardly any chairs to be found. And the ones that I found were the pretty difficult to get in beach chairs on the beach. They were maybe like 3-inch legs on them, and they kind of did sink down into the sand because it's really, really soft sand. There were a lot of people really struggling to get in and out of them. So if you have any knee issues, issues, hip issues, or just just difficulty with mobility, then you're going to struggle with those chairs. So I would recommend getting off the ship first thing, the moment that you can, getting to the beach club, getting a chair that's going to be comfortable for you for the duration of your stay there, and then just hanging out. Just make sure you bring something to leave in your chair while you're out in the water. The water was amazing, very beautiful blue. It was a little chilly, but I was there in February. But don't forget, there's pretty fabulous food on the island for free of charge. They have a counter service restaurant that serves some very nice Caribbean style food. There's also a beverage station, but I didn't inquire whether that had water available for free. I know that there were beverages available for purchase, but when I was getting breakfast in the morning, I went to the galley and I filled up my water bottle with ice and water, and I took that on the island with me. And when you get off the ship for the beach club, you will have a pretty decent walk to the end of the pier to get the tram. And don't be fooled. Don't think you're going to be able to comfortably walk to the beach club unless you're pretty fit. And don't forget, you're going to be out in the hot sun. There are no sidewalks, and you're going to be walking in traffic, going to be surrounded by golf carts and the tram and other vehicles. So it is much safer to just wait for the tram. But I understand that some people just want to walk it, but don't think it is an easy walk, even though it's really not that far. So now for the bonus items. Now, during Sail Away, they do give away free champagne. So if you are looking for a free beverage, then just make sure that you get up there right away, because they do have a time limit. They only give away the champagne for about the first 20 minutes of the Sail Away party. Make sure that you check your app and see what time it starts. Maybe be up there a little bit early so you can be there right when they start giving it away. Now, they are pretty generous with the champagne, so don't hesitate to take 2 glasses if you want, but just know that the time that they're going to give it away is very limited. So the next bonus tip that I have for you, if you're really looking to work on Virgin Voyages, it can be difficult. The cabins are not conducive to sitting down at a desk and spending any length of time working. There is a little stool, but there's really not much room on the desk. Also, the chair that comes in the cabin doesn't really pull up to the desk. There is a little tray table, but honestly, I found other places on the ship more comfortable to sit down on my iPad and get my YouTube work done. And kind of the last bonus item, something that you really need to know about Virgin Voyages, is that there are a lot of times on the ship that it is very quiet because people have been out pretty late and or just out doing other things. A lot of times I would go up to the galley at off times and there would be hardly anybody in there. And the galley has amazing views. So I would take my computer up there and sit and watch the ocean. Yes, did I have a room with a balcony? And could I have sat in my room and gotten the ocean view from there? Yes, but I didn't want to feel like I was wasting my time away by sitting in my room and not socializing with anybody, even though most people didn't bother me while I was sitting up there alone. But I did end up running into a lot of people that I had met throughout the cruise that would stop by and talk and chat for a few minutes. And I just felt so nice sitting up there at a pretty quiet spot and just hanging out. Honestly, I decided to walk around the ship and check out the whole ship during the day, and it was just almost kind of weird how quiet it was in a lot of the spaces, especially like the sip bar. It's a really wonderful spot to sit and look out on the ocean, and there was just no one around during the day. And kind of my final tip is the galley. So don't count the galley out. It does have a great selection of food, but there is also an outside dining space that almost everybody misses, because if you're coming up in the aft elevator with the galley on your mind, you're immediately going to turn and enter the galley. And you're not going to realize that if you just turn around, there is an open air seating area on the back of the ship with the most amazing views. Every single time I went out there, there was hardly a person. And because the galley has so many tables, even when it was super busy at breakfast or lunchtime, there was always a place to sit and there was hardly anybody outside. So just keep that in mind, that if you're looking for a place to kind of relax and unwind and eat your food in peace, just check out the back of the ship at the rear of the galley. So those are all the tips that I have for somewhat new checking out Virgin Voyages. I have so much to say though. I still haven't done a full review, but I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed my time on Virgin. I loved the food. The service was fantastic. I loved everything about the hammock on my balcony, and I definitely want to sail Virgin Voyages again. Now, as far as the crowd, they kind of advertise themselves as a cool, hip vibe, lots of younger people, lots of rowdy partying, and maybe a little bit raunchy or uh, risque. But I have to say that not that that was the farthest thing from the truth, but most of the people on board were Gen Xers or early boomers. And there was partying at the appropriate times, but it was honestly much calmer than the last Royal Caribbean cruise that I went on. And honestly, there was a lot less risque outfits that I saw out of the passengers on Virgin Voyages than I saw on Royal Caribbean. And if you don't want to see the shows, which are adult themed because they don't have to worry about any children being on board, so they do take advantage of adult innuendos or maybe adult jokes. And if you don't want to see that, then just skip the show. So there's nothing that is really in your face that should deter you from being on Virgin Voyages. I just think it's an amazing atmosphere overall. The ships are beautiful, and I really enjoyed my time. So thank you for stopping in to check out this video. My name is Amy, and I love to cruise. And keep an eye out for my next series where I'm on a princess cruise out of Rome on the Enchanted Princess, and my whole goal is to see if I can gamble enough in the casino to earn a free cruise or be able to receive post-cruise casino marketing offers. So thanks again, and if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you'd like to continue to see my videos in your recommended feed, then subscribe to my channel. And if you want to be notified every time I release a new video or go live, then hit that notification bell and turn all your notifications on. I do have a goal for 2026 to go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, but I will be missing a few dates coming up because I'm going to be on a cruise. So thank you so much. And if you seek Amy K, she's going to be on a cruise. So have a fabulous day. And I hope to see you back here again soon.
If you seek Amy K, find her on a cruise.